but you know it's true. Don't have to tell. I love your precious heart. I was there. You were there. Two worlds colliding, and they never tear us apart. I'm dead. Oh my god, this is so funny. It's not just the fact. Hold on, I need to stop laughing. Jesus Christ, this is what people are offended over. Maybe I don't get it, but it's the reactions that's making it funnier. He gets us. Okay, first of all, that ad was was unironically funny. I don't know if half those pictures were AI. Doesn't matter. I get what they were going for. But the punchline made it funny. First of all, I don't understand why people are getting so triggered over this. It's so weird. Like, this is one of the commercials, I guess, that showed during the Super Bowl. I don't watch football. Not into the whole thing. Feels like the Super Bowl is just 90% advertisements anyway. Where's the game? Anyway, let me try to keep it together. From what it looks like, this person is trying to showcase in a day where everybody's at each other's throats what love is supposed to look like. You know, I guess they have freaking old Danny Glover with, you know, I'm so done. And they just have people washing each other's feet. I think they're showing in times where everybody is against each other that there can still be love and kindness. Look, I'm going to be straight with you. For those of you who follow my channel, you already know. But for those of you who don't, you're probably going to click off after this. That's your prerogative. I'm an ex-Christian. I'm an atheist. I know it's a bad word to a lot of people. How could you? But I just don't have anything against people that are. The majority of my family members are. I respect them. I respect their belief. And I ask that they respect my disbelief. I don't need anybody coming at me in the comments trying to reconvert me, or please don't do that. My family already tried. It's very annoying and disrespectful. That being said, just like the Christians, I agree that if you have a belief or something that you live by, you should have the freedom to do that. Don't force it down everybody else's throats, right? So that's where I'm going to put that. That being said, having grown up the majority of my life Christian, putting myself in that mindset, I don't really see what the issue is. I do know people who are so religious that you can't make any jokes about Jesus, the Holy Spirit, like, God is not mocked. But then it's like, I think Jesus himself would be way more down to earth, pun intended, than a lot of people are today. You have people that are so pearl clutchy when it comes to certain things. And I think Jesus, I don't think he'd be so uptight that he can't make a joke out of things. And I don't think this is what this commercial was trying to do. It did come off very funny. It just came off very, like, it came off funny, but I get where it was going. Like, you could put different music to it, like I had to. And you can end up laughing because of how weird it looks, but you can also understand the message. I feel like there was a better way to do this so that it didn't come off like a joke. I think people are just mocked, but then again, people get so offended at everything, and I don't understand what the point is. Is this a Native American and the white man's washing his feet? I think all it's saying to me, you see, from my ex-Christian eyes, and just trust me, you could find something to be offended of everything. Like, there is something that you can find to be offended over. And sometimes it's warranted, and I can understand where people are coming from, but I think it's the way you look at things. You don't want people pointing out that both sides of certain groups don't like each other. I don't know which one this is supposed to, what that's supposed to be. History. This is at school. I get it. This is the popular girl who's into fashion, super pretty, and this is the socially awkward girl probably who doesn't fit the beauty standards of everybody else in the school. And it's basically showing that these two people, even though they're worlds apart, as the lyrics say to the original ad that we can still find commonality and be kind to each other. I understand that message. You can have people that are against certain things, but you can still love each other. Like, you have the people protesting over here, and I guess that's why some people are calling this woke, because you have protesters over here that are pro-life from the signs, and this is obviously a clinic. And this is a girl who's making the choice probably to go in and do what she's doing. And this woman looks like she belongs to that group. But even though she disagrees probably with what this girl is doing, she is showcasing her humanity and saying, you know what? I understand this is probably a difficult decision for you. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean I can't wash your feet or treat you like a human. That's what I think it's saying. This one is a person who's on drugs and, oh, she's an alcoholic. You have to, I like that. I like how you have to interpret. What the frick is that? Is it a microwave or a TV? It looks like a combination of both. What in the world? Anyway, there's pills and stuff everywhere. That's probably a relative or a neighbor washing her feet. And this person, you can just tell that they've given up on life. And this person is showing their humanity, because a lot of people will look at alcoholics and addicts and just treat them like they're less than human. And yes, they made the decisions that placed them in that part of their life. And I don't know. I understand where people are coming from with the mistrust with people asking for money and food. But one thing I will never turn down a homeless person or an addict for is food. Now, my husband and I, we debated this lots of times. It's a very interesting discussion, because he said to me, you know, you giving them food is noble, but they have places where they can get food. You doing that is basically enabling them, because if they're not at the point where they can be hungry and have to go out there and get it, they're probably never going to change anyway, but you doing that is enabling. Me feeding them is enabling them. And I have, don't come at him for that. He grew up in New York. Like, he grew up in the bad side of New York. I grew up in like the hoity-toity side, I guess. So we didn't see homeless people. I don't know if he did, but for me personally, especially, Christian had nothing to do with it. Like, because I'm still like that, even though I'm not a Christian anymore. I still will feed people. I cannot see people asking for food. They're not asking for money. They're asking for food, and me be like, no. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a bleeding heart sucker, but someone's hungry. I'm going to feed them. And in my eyes, I still look at them as human, and you'd be surprised. Half of these homeless people, they know what they did wrong. I've had so many drug addicts and homeless people when I was, going through Philly, and Philly has so much homeless people, and talking to them, they all admit they fucked up. Their family tried to help them, and they got addicted to the drugs, and every time they try to get themselves out, they get money, they just buy more drugs. Like, a lot of them are honest, like forthcoming honest, like they just vent to me their whole life story. And it's very sad, because a lot of them are talented, and you could tell they're good people who are in a bad situation because of the choices that they made. However, for that moment, I don't feel like it's necessary for me to look down on them and be like, ugh, I've hugged homeless people. Yes, they smell really bad. And in that moment, I'm not thinking about, oh my God, I could catch something from them. In that moment, I'm thinking this person is hurting, and I can't help it. I hug them. And you know how much they cried? They said, I've not remembered the last time I've hugged someone. And it's so beautiful that this picture here kind of reminds me of that. And you'd be surprised. A lot of Christian people, sorry, not trying to throw all Christians under the bus, because non-believers do this too, but from my experience, many Christians who claim that they follow Christ and his example look down on homeless people. When Jesus himself sat at the table with those people that the religious people didn't like, and they were like, oh, why is he sitting with them? Because Jesus said, those are the people that need me. Like, those are the people that need the human. So it's just weird that people are acting like this. I don't know what this is supposed to symbolize. I guess this is her land, and he's washing her feet, and the oil stuff is in the background, so I'm guessing it's trying to symbolize that this person is native and you're using their land, even though it's both America's land now. But there was probably some feud between people who own the land and the people who wanted to run people off of the land to go do this, and there is still a way to come together and say, you know what, I don't hate you, let me treat you like a human. I don't know. Oh, I see what this is. Okay. So I get it. I get why people are upset. So this part is very, I guess, triggering to a lot of people. And I can understand why some people are upset, because these look like migrants. And especially given the situation that's happening right now with, we know what it is. It's like they're trying to tell people through this ad, hey, you need to accept these people, like, that are coming through illegally and beating up your policemen and committing crimes and then just leaving. They don't actually want to be here. They're just using the system to get free stuff while the citizens that are homeless and stuff are still suffering. Yeah, wash their feet, bitch. I think that's what that's what people are taking away from this picture. I can understand how, especially now, this can be triggering, especially since the person who's washing the Hispanic woman's feet is white. But then I also look in the situation from the eyes of humanity, and she's holding a baby. And as much as she may feel a certain way about it, you can still be human. You can still admit that there's a problem and try to fight that problem, but still be human when you see that someone needs help. You don't have to admit that certain things don't exist, problems don't exist. It's very obvious and they need to be taken care of. But you can also admit that you can still be kind to people who are really in need of help. She is specifically helping someone with a baby. Now, from the eyes of people who are upset about this, they may think of it as, look at what they're doing. They're trying to make us look bad for being against illegal immigrants because look at the mother with her child. Like, most people that are coming through don't have newborn babies. There are a lot of people who are coming through seeking asylum that actually have legitimate situations. Maybe she came from a bad situation where her relative was part of the cartel. I don't know. That's a really out there situation. That's not what most of them are. But I understand where this is coming from. You could look at this and be like, oh, that's sweet. She's trying to help someone in need in this current moment. Instead of being like, hey, go back on the bus. Like, do you need formula before you go back on the bus? You're still gonna go back on the... I'm kidding. I'm not. But that's what I think it's trying to say. I think it's trying to tell people, hey, but we all have issues right now. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of ire going around from both sides. Let's stop for a moment and realize that we're both human. Now, it does seem to be coming from the side of Americans washing everybody's feet. But you can also look at it as, hey, let's rise above just being plain hateful. I don't know what this one is about. It says, shut him up. They're both... You see, this is just random people fighting. And, it's like mixed ethnicity. There's censorship, shut him up, silence, hate. And this woman is washing this person's feet. I guess this side is the censorship side and the other side is the one that wants to censor. Now, I understand, okay, there is a theme with this. I don't think the washing of the feet ad itself is a problem. I think where things could be lost in translation, and maybe it's open to interpretation, is the fact that only one side of a particular encompassed belief system is the one washing the other people's feet. So maybe that's probably what that is. It's like, okay, why is it that one side of the aisle is the one doing all the washing? We should be washing each other's feet. I think that would have been better received because the message itself isn't bad, but I think everybody should be washing each other's feet. That's what the Bible showed. Like, Jesus did do that. But there was a convention or something like we held at our church at one point, and we were taking turns washing each other's feet. So the person, you allow your foot to be washed, but then you have to turn around and wash the other person's foot. So them only showing it from one side, washing the other person's foot, I can understand how that can look bad. This doesn't look so bad because they're washing their feet together. See, that looks better. I'm guessing this person is gay because of the way they're sitting. They want to really hammer it home that this is what this is. So like, let me put my leg up there and be super elegant because let's be honest, that's how some, not all, but that's how some feminine gay guys act. Trust me, I'm a girl and I have friends that are more extra than I am. I'm like, why are you walking like that, girl? You know, cause I gotta swing them hips. And I'm okay. You don't got no hips, but sure. Look, we should be able to laugh at people. Oh, you have the rollerblades on. So the priest came over and said, you know, and you know what? Christians should be happy about this because this is the message that you want, right? What we were taught is you want to reach the people who you think needs Christ. So you can also look at it from that point of view. You can look at it as the Christians washing the feet of those that need salvation, and they're trying to be nice to them to try and show them that, see, Jesus is the way. See how I treat you with kindness? Come to Christianity. Because that's what a lot of them do. And if you go back through that lens of this entire thing, you can look at it as the people washing the other people's feet. They're trying to show them, look at us. We're taking the high road. We're Christians. We love you. We're washing your feet. See how kind we are? Christianity is better because we're actually showing kindness. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's kind of what it is. That's kind of how you can interpret this. See how I wash your feet? I'm Christian. You're Muslim. See, I'm washing your feet, right? That feels really nice. Oh my God. I've not had a pedi in such a long time, like ever. I know, right? You think about how much more of these you can get if you come to Christ. Yep, Christ is a foot washer, so you'll get your feet washed and sucked all day long. I'm kidding. See me washing your feet, Miss Migrant with a new baby? baby? Come to our church. It's going to be full of migrants. See me washing your feet? Even though we're taking oil from your land, if you come to Christ, you get to be part of our religion and our community while we still take oil. Look, I'm making kind of light of it, but it just goes to show you from any light, you can look at it as, oh my God, this is offensive. Because people who are non-religious can look at it as, wow, this is a campaign to try and get people to turn to Christ. And the Christians can look at it as, this is a campaign to show that Christians are supposed to bow down to people, even though that's what Jesus teaches, to turn the other cheek. But anyway, both sides can look at this as the other side's trying to spread propaganda, or you can look at it as, it's humanity. Let's not try to look for anything. It's humanity. Jesus didn't teach hate. But God did. I'm kidding. Sort of. But I just always found it weird that everything in the Old Testament was about wrath and killing people and stoning people because they did things that were human. So the message is a little bit mixed there.
The message is that Jesus didn't hate sinners. He washed their feet. But are they missing something, Nick? There's a bit more to that message. Jesus still considered it as sin. He wanted that behavior to cease.
Yeah, I think.
Did these people not read the Bible? Not every person that Jesus washed their feet and went to and he knew they were sinners stopped being sinners. Jesus didn't do that thinking, oh, you're never gonna sin again. Even when he said, go forth and sin no more, it doesn't mean people stop sinning, or else he wouldn't have to die on the cross for people's sins, because people are always going to sin. So that makes no sense. The point of the campaign, see, I'm advocating for the Christian side of it, funny enough, and I'm not a Christian. But the message is saying that regardless of whether or not someone stops sinning, you should still treat them with humanity. You can still admit a problem exists without treating people like they're not human beings. That's what the message is about. You sin too. So it's funny these people are sitting up here with their pearl clutches and saying, oh, well, he still wanted them to stop sinning. If that were the case and Jesus believed that they were going to stop sinning, he wouldn't have to die for them in the first place. I think the whole thing is freaking ridiculous to begin with. But if we're going with the whole Bible tale, he would have not needed to die for their sins. I mean, God himself said people's righteousness is like filthy rags, which is like, really, bro? Then what's the point of being righteous if our righteousness is like filthy rags to you? But he still treated them with kindness. If he was fully God and fully Holy Spirit and whatever, the Holy Trinity, but he's fully God and fully human, he understood humanity. He understood that people are going to sin regardless. So you're saying that you shouldn't be kind to people because they're going to sin anyway when you yourself are a sinner? That doesn't make any sense. So people getting all bent out of shape out of this, like, I just don't, and then they're calling these people woke evangelists. Look, there are a lot of things I watch different platforms and all kinds of different news organizations. And I like when news can be objective. I mean, sometimes it's subjective. You're human beings. I get that. You're going to have some kind of bias. It makes sense. But they are saying it's their opinion, to be fair. But I think that the opinion can have some pushback because you can interpret it either way, which is kind of ironic because that's the same thing that happens with the gospel. There are so many different denominations because everybody's interpreting it a different way because you can take it a different way. So I guess it all comes down to the way you choose to take it. I don't think that the evangelists are saying, hey, we're pro-censorship or we're against censorship. I think they're saying, hey, take a moment. Christians who are against censorship, and while you can still fight your fight, you can take a moment to love someone and admit that the person that you're fighting is a human just like you with beliefs just like you. That's what I'm seeing. But then again, I'm a centrist scum. So what do you guys think about this commercial? I think it's so ridiculous that people are getting upset about this. I mean, I guess on one hand, I understand why, because with entertainment nowadays, everything is shoved down people's throats and it seems to be only one-sided, similar to a situation where the bigger sibling is always expected to be the bigger person, regardless of whether or not the younger sibling's always starting things. And you feel like you're the only one who has to make the corrections. But that's kind of what the Bible teaches, you know? Forgive them, Father.
For they know not what they do.
Christians always need to be on the forgiving side because that's what God teaches. I mean, if you're looking outside the Old Testament, because if you're in the Old Testament, it straight up tells you to kill people that don't believe what you believe. So I don't know. Like, people like to leave out that part and they get mad at me when I point that out. Like, my mom got so mad at me when I brought that up. And I'm like, but Mom, I didn't say it. The Bible said it. Like, he's the one that told people to go and cut babies out of women's bellies. and told the chosen ones to go and enslave their neighbors. Like, so, I mean, even as a Christian, I admitted there were some fucked up things in the Bible. Like, that's me reading the whole thing through and through is the reason I'm not anymore. Not saying for certain that there's no God that exists whatsoever. I don't see any evidence of it, but I doubt that if it's the kind of God you guys are thinking it is, it's the person, that it's the individual who people are writing about in this book. Because first of all, it's inconsistent as hell. Full of wrath, then kindness, then wrath again, then death, then killing. Thou shalt not murder. But if I tell you should go and slay all the people over in that land that are not bothering you because they don't believe in me, that's totally fine. Nobody sees issues with this. And I'm not trying to deconvert anybody. I'm just saying from my point of view why I feel the way I feel, in case people are curious. Because people usually are curious and like, well, why don't you? And this is why. No, this is why. And then when you point this out, people hem and haw and then try to apologize for it and try to find reasons why it makes sense when it still doesn't. And all this ad is saying is, relax. Relax. We're doing exactly what we were taught to do in the Bible. And they're referencing Jesus, and Jesus did these things. Jesus is the one who would be in the middle of these two people fighting and say, you know what? Let me stop and wash this person's feet. Regardless of the fact that I think that they're 100% wrong, that they shouldn't censor people, I'm gonna be the person to wash your feet. And you know what's messed up? Because Jesus got crucified. The people who were on Jesus' side initially, seeing him do this, they would turn against Jesus. His own people. Because that's exactly what happened. Anyway, I know this is a very triggering video for some people, but I'm just saying what's readily observant that people don't want to admit. So if you have a problem with the commercial, maybe sit down with the people who did the commercial and ask them what the frick is going on. But I don't see anything based on their belief in what is taught in the gospel. I don't see what they're doing as problematic. I get the message 100% what they're doing. I don't agree with censorship, so you can't say there's certain things there. I don't agree with stopping people from going to a clinic either. Like, there's certain beliefs that I have that I don't agree with 100% one side or the other, but I do agree with the message that we should come together, or someone has to step up, regardless of whether or not you don't agree with the other side, and remind everyone that we should love each other regardless of our differences. Even if the other side are rabid dogs, your religion teaches you, despite that, to follow Christ, be like he is, and he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And he died for them anyway, despite the fact these people killed him and shunned him, spat on him, did everything in the book to try and discredit him. And he still died for them. And he still loved them despite that. And if you're a Christian and you're following Christ, you're supposed to be following his example. That's why it's called Christian. You're supposed to follow what he did. He loved the people that hated him. Just saying. So if you're going by that logic of it being a Christian commercial, there is nothing that these people in this commercial have done wrong. Was a little corny in the way it ended, but they didn't do anything wrong. Open to debate.
Don't be a hypocrite.